Let's go.
Welcome to the Soul Fam podcast, where we expand your personal universe. I'm Diana Marquetta, and in each episode, Soul Fam co-founder, co-creator Lexi Strummer-Solden and I interview the world's most rising and longtime experts in consciousness, spirituality, entertainment, healing, and science. From Earth's dimensions and dimensions way, way beyond. On the Soul Fam podcast, our frequencies are high and your heart chakras will open as these powerful voices of today share cutting-edge research, profound experiences, and valuable knowledge for your world in this out-of-this-world, thought-provoking, envelope-pushing interviews that could only take place right here on the Soul Fam podcast. Welcome to the Soul Fam podcast with Diana and Lexi. And today we are super excited to have one of my mentors, Marcia the Pet Medium. I am currently in a Monday morning meetup class that Marcia hosts. And as a result of that class, I have been actually studying a little bit about animal communication, and Marcia is incredibly gracious and kind to all those that join the call. And she does free readings about pets that have passed. And anybody who's listened to this before knows that both I and Lexi have pets, and we feel very close to them. And I personally feel that pets have a certain purpose in our lives and a certain kind of spirituality that we humans could probably learn a lot from and be more akin to. So welcome today, Marcia. We're so excited to have you here. And I would love if you would roll right into how you work and where all this magic came from.
Diana, first I want to say thank you so much. What an honor. What a lovely, lovely intro. And I'm so honored that you feel that I'm mentoring you. That really makes me feel terrific. So I just, very happy to be here. And yeah, just go ahead, ask any questions.
So how did you get into being a pet medium? Since I have cheat notes about you and I know that your background was in nursing, is that correct?
That is correct. I've been a registered nurse since I was in my 20s. My mother thought that would be a good profession for me. After I went from one to another, she goes, "You'd be a good nurse." And all I could think of was, Clockwork Orange, Nurse Ratched. And I'm like, oh no, I don't think I'm going to be, a good nurse. And so I went, she goes, "I'll pay for it." I go, well, So I would only have to pay, for my living expenses and a car. I go, okay, I'll do it. And she was right. I loved nursing. It's funny because you have things that come up through your life that both of you, I know, that have led you to this place right now, right? And for me in nursing, it was when one doctor once said to me, it was a young, just graduated. He goes, how do you know when a patient's going to code? And I looked at him and I said, oh, I just get a really bad feeling. And so then he asked the nurse next to me and she says, diaphoretic, pale, weak. And she just recites every kind of, the clinical signs and symptoms that you see. And he looks back at me and I go, I just get a really, really bad feeling, And it's true. Let's face it. Do we or do we not anymore rely on our feelings in our guts? So that's, I guess, getting old and I don't have to go to work full time anymore. And I had a little bit more time to, go online and see what's out there and see exciting things. And this one thing popped up about animal communication. And I thought, wow, maybe I could do that. I certainly love animals. Why can't I do that? If they think anybody can be trained, I can do that. So that's how it started with the animal communication.
Did you have pets? I mean, I think you grew
Always.
up on the farm, correct? And you have horses, or you
No,
did?
I grew up in Palm Beach County, Florida. I'm kind of a city girl. Although way back then, when I was growing up, we had mangroves and we would, did you watch Flipper? I'm of the Flipper era, you know, where you're running on you're barefoot running on pebbles. People are like, doesn't that hurt? And you're like, oh, I'm a Florida cracker. So yeah, no, that's just what we do. We swim in the ocean. Yeah. We ski next to alligators and we point, like that's not a good place to fall. You're in the boat and there's a gator. So you would point. And in other words, don't fall right here because we see a gator. So we were very much, combined with nature. And yeah, alligators swim with us. And yeah, they're the mangroves where he goes. And it wasn't a big deal. They had their stuff, we had our stuff. And there was a nice sharing, which I think we've taken over a little too much these days.
Right.
With our expansion of stuff from the animals. Yeah.
Obviously, when you were working as a nurse, you had a certain sort of intuitiveness about things. Was it just a real curiosity about animal communication, or did you already start picking up things long before that?
Long before that, again, Palm Beach County, one of my first mentors was a woman named Ann Simmons. And she owns a place called Mystic Treasures, and she's a psychic. So I would go in and we would have readings and I would just be enthralled because she'd nail it. I mean, she would just nail it. And she would have like once a week, once every few weeks, a few people to come and gather. And she would start, helping us and training us. And it was just a fabulous learning experience. That's way before we had, I can find anything on the internet and go to a class on the internet. So it kind of started there. But even before that, I think the first thing that maybe, I don't know, Diana, you'd remember. Do you remember The Secret on Oprah Winfrey when she talked about The Secret?
Sure. Everybody still talks about The Secret. I mean, 10 years ago, it was huge and a little controversy about
Right.
it, but
I mean, I remember that was another one of the mind-blowing things. I mean, if I knew, way back when that I could do this, because everybody can do this. Every single person can do this. Everybody can. Children do it all the time. From ages 0 to 5, they don't have that block. So they are able to, a lot of the animal communicators now will say, oh yeah, I used to go outside and talk with the animals all the time and they'd talk back to me. And it wasn't until, I tell my parents and they say, they're not talking to you. Get that out of your head. It wasn't until that they stopped. I probably was doing it then, but as you can tell, I'm more of a talker than a listener. I need to listen more. And I would, always talk to them, but I don't know the listening stuff. But going back to the all-knowing question, that's one of the clairs. Do you know about the 5 clairs? Okay, everybody mostly knows about clairvoyance. That's when you see images. A lot of the psychics, very famous psychics, will say they're clairvoyant, and they will see like a picture image or a black and white screen, and they'll see something going on with that. And then there's claircognizance, where you just know it. If you're I just think of myself as the know-it-all, because the clairvoyance and the claircognizance, I just know. You just have to know it and accept it. And I've always had those. I think we've all always had those. We block them off. If we got real quiet and tried to remember some kind of thing that happened when we were a little kid, we'd probably remember something like that we had.
Lexi, do your kids talk to the animals?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's very normal for us because I never stopped talking to animals, and I grew up in a home with dogs. And my parents, they're like yuppie lawyers, and they would talk to the dogs and sing to them and leave soap operas on for them, and very much they were not at all weirded out by me talking to animals. They were fine with it. They did the same thing, and I really appreciate that. They didn't quite take it as far as like talking to bees and birds and all the things. And so that's where I sort of I think took a different path. And now I do talk to all the things. But my kids, they take after me in that they'll try to save bees that are in the pool. And they'll say, hold on, I'm going to scoop you out. And then my mom is going to come and she's going to put you in a flower. So I don't know, I don't want them to get stung, but the tradition or the practice or the skill set seems to have passed on. And it's something that I don't even think about being weird. And I'm really grateful for that.
I feel the same way. Yeah. I've never ever felt strange. Other people, if they think that doesn't affect me, that's them. But yes, and look at where from your mother, not judging and being open like that, look at how you are as a grounded, productive, and loving human being today. I mean, obviously it works, right?
Do you remember your first reading, Marcia, by the way, with pets?
Yes. It was in a class. I was very thrilled. It was with a dog, and I was so into, at that point, they kept sending me messages of food. And I'm like, oh, he wants a hamburger. He wants some hamburger. And he had just the day before somebody brought him a hamburger. Go, he's asking for a hamburger. So yeah, I was thrilled with my very, very first one. Yeah, I got that hamburger. He wanted a hamburger and I got it.
I'm sorry, Lexi, I cut you off there. What were you going to ask?
I don't remember, but now I'm wondering how you got the hamburger. Was it like just an image? Do you get images in your mind, or are you like clairaudient? I guess I do know the clairs. Are you hearing like, I want a hamburger, or like in the dog's voice?
I had to develop the clairaudience. It was the claircognizance. I just knew before anything. If you take that, there's a Claire Bloomfield class on, I think it's called Udemy, but I call it udemy.com. And it's beginning animal communication. And in there, she discusses the 5 clairs, and she has some kind of test to tell you which clair you are. And they're like 10-minute little, snippets that you do. But she will tell you which clairs are your strongest. I had to develop clairaudience more. I just knew, and that's probably the thing you have to be more secure with, the claircognizance.
Yeah.
Because you don't have really verification. The audience is, you hear it loudly, you hear it softly, you hear it. The clairsentience, you feel it. You can feel it in your body. The one of my very first clairvoyant ones was a group of us used to practice together. And we were reading a black lab that had passed on. My friend's father's, I believe, black lab. And all of a sudden, and I'm, really, really concentrate then, really get into it, really close, really concentrate really heavily back then. And I'm getting this picture of an ocean and some guy on a little boat, like a Boston whaler or something, about 22 foot. And he's got a navy blue beret. He's got tattooed arms like Popeye, and he's smoking a pipe. And he's driving this little boat, and the dog's at the bow of the boat with his, the black fur going back. And the guy's like, I think he's got a beer in his hand. And so afterward we were sharing, together. I'm like, oh, you guys, this is so totally out there. This is what I got. And I explained the scene of this guy driving. And then she tells me, that's my grandmother's or mother's grandmother's first fiance who died in World War II. And that's him waiting for her with the dog waiting for her. And I like, you get the goosebumps and I'm like, oh, I'm good at this. And then you're like, wow. Cause you think you're totally out there. I mean, there have been so many experiences, especially at the beginning, where you think, oh, I'm just totally out there. I'm reading one of my mentor friends' cats. She's Japanese. She lives in America. She lives in California. She her mom's cat. And her mom's cat has stomach issues. And they've been to the vet 5 times. Everything's fine. But things are going too slowly in the stomach. She goes, see if you can figure it out. So I'm in the water. Do you guys know that when you're near water, it helps transmit better? Have you ever noticed that, Lexi?
I mean, I like water.
If you're even doing the dish or in the bath?
Well, yeah. I mean, I have an aquarium. I have an aquatic turtle, and so the sound of the aquarium is very soothing. I don't know what I did without my aquatic turtle in her aquarium. I don't know if I ever really thought about it. Only that I knew from some sort of feng shui perspective that flowing water is good.
It helps you transmit. I've gotten a lot of things from the water. And anyway, I'm doing the dishes and I'm talking to Raru, and all of a sudden I get another clairvoyant image. And what I see is I remember distinctly, it's like 10 o'clock at night. And I see the mushroom cloud from the bombing when America bombed Japan. And I'm like, okay, it's either Hiroshima or Nagasaki. This is a lot for me to handle. I'm going to bed. So I went to bed, and I go in the morning, I'll figure out which one it was. I get up in the morning. I'm like, I'm hearing now Hiroshima. And so the cat and I had a conversation. He's showing me now pictures of him in line. He says, you can find me in a book. I have a picture of who I am. This is a cat, and I'm getting a human. And he goes, you can find me in a book about, you can see who I am in a picture. I'm the second one in line, standing up, and I am in a book. You can see who I am. And he wanted to reincarnate as a human to feel the ground. I said, why did you reincarnate? He goes, I love Japan. I love my country. He says, sometimes you just want to be in a physical form to feel the earth, to feel that grounding. So yeah, it just, it comes to you and it's like, this is a lot to handle for someone who has blocked this off all their life. And now that I've opened it, it just, we all have spirit guides, and they want to help you and make your life beautiful and wonderful and easier. And they want to help you. You just have to want them to and ask them. You must ask, please help me with this. Please help me with that. So I told them I want to now know about, this, and I want to know about that. And so they tell you in a way that you can understand. So a lot of that's why I do a lot of the medical stuff, because my background is a nurse, so I can understand it all. And I spent many years researching animal stuff and holistic treatments for that online when one of my dogs got sick. Yes, so they like to tell you how you can learn and how you can see it or understand it. Because we're never alone. And your animals, they eavesdrop. They eavesdrop. Everything you think, everything you say, they're there. They know.
So they understand what we're saying. So when Lexi's talking about, or Lexi and the kids are talking about rescuing a bee in the swimming pool, the bee's hearing that.
Not only is the bee hearing that, but the cats hear it. And the cats are like, that's my family. That's my mom.
Aww.
She rescued bees. Yeah. Talking to wild animals. There's there's a woman, Nancy Windhart, who's from the Penelope Smith camp, who's the biggest, probably the grandmother nurse of animal communications, Penelope Smith. And she teaches us to talk to the wild animals, which is fabulous. And so you start talking. Here's a frog. Hi, Mr. Frog. Is it okay if we have a conversation? Like, well, okay. Why are you here? I'm here to help the planet. And almost every single wild animal, a spider, a bee, a frog, they want to help the planet. And I remember at the time doing so many of these communications and thinking, why don't we as humans feel that way? Why don't we feel, it's not just recycle. You're not recycling. You're a bad person. It's like, let's just together be happy. And what can we, nicely do to help the planet? Can we even think nice thoughts to help things? It's more for like, us, money, money, money. It's, but the animals want to help. They come back to help. It's fascinating. Absolutely. Yeah.
So let's talk about reincarnation for a second, because I think there's a slight, okay. So I don't know if there's a dispute or not, frankly, but you've discussed this in class that animals potentially reincarnate. So is that how it works? Or is it that the animal is only here for you? It has this sort of single soul, and then that's sort of it.
Yes. It's just, I'm in the process of doing my doctoral thesis on reincarnation. And it is probably the most fascinating topic I've ever encountered. So, I mean, up until, people would talk about it and I'd always stay open, but I never quite believed it until I saw it clairvoyantly. I'm like, oh, wow, there really is like a heaven, because I will get clear images of what the dog is doing in heaven. And they have classes and they teach, there's all sorts of things that go on in heaven. I even had one Malinois, a friend of mine's dog, and he didn't really like heaven that much because he couldn't kill any of the little animals. He was a prey motivated dog. So he doesn't stay there a lot because one of the rules in heaven is you can't kill the other little creatures, right? Right.
It's not the rule here on Earth. So
he kind of hangs out in the realm around Earth where he can run. And if he wants to kill one of the, a squirrel or something, it's his. So yeah, but I see it now. So it's not been long since I believed it. And you do a lot of research into this. And even as humans, we have reincarnated back. This will absolutely blow everybody's mind. Not only have we reincarnated and come back, we have chosen our families that we're coming into. We have chosen our mother and our father. We have, it could be for a reason that we have to help our mother out in this lifetime. And therefore we come back there because that's what we want to do before we come in. Sometimes it changes when we're here, but that's what we want to do. Sometimes it's, I want to spend my life. And this was a hard concept for me. I want to come back and I want to be a homeless alcoholic wandering the streets, because they want to find out what it feels like and what it was like. It's a very hard concept for me that someone would choose that. But some people have. They either want to experience it or maybe they have a karmic reason. I've talked to animals who have reincarnated and they have literally come back in a situation. They're not cats. A cat has literally come back in a situation that they knew was not going to be pleasant. Very likely that they'd have to fend for themselves if they could make it past, the baby stage, to get rid of some of the karma when they weren't nice to the animals.
That's hard to think of. I can't think of an animal having bad karma, or not bad, but like
It's a human,
not.
and the human comes back as an animal. Remember,
Oh,
it's a
I
short
see.
life when you come back.
That makes sense. Okay, that one makes sense. Yes, yes. Okay, got it.
Yep.
That's so
Yeah,
interesting. Like I
it's
always think my
fascinating.
horse is an alien.
Oh,
Well,
I swear, like Jack's an
I've met
alien.
I have met aliens. I mean, it absolutely. I have absolutely spoken with and yes, alien.
are
You mean
you
aliens
speaking
as
to two of them, like us, Diana and me, like us,
we're pretty much
aliens?
I love you guys.
I mean, we
Oh
feel.
no,
You
we
know,
are.
the aliens come in. We've got to go back to Egyptian times, right? We have the pyramids, right? We have the pyramids.
Yep.
Where did they come from? Because certainly nobody can put them up on the outside like that, but not even the outside. On the inside of the pyramids, they have been laser cut with something we still don't have to this day. And we don't have the capacity to lift something that's that heavy and put it in that perfectly. Aliens. And sure enough, on all the hieroglyphics, and I don't care if you're talking about Egypt, Mesopotamia, Peru, even in America, in the Utah area, it's there. It's from thousands of years ago on cave walls, and they have special heads or different skulls, or they're part. You know, in Egyptian they have the beetle a lot. They use the
The
beetle.
scarab beetle. Yeah.
The scarab, yeah. I mean, where did this come from? It's a little egotistical to think that we're the only ones and, everything revolves around us. We're just part of a bigger whatever. Tiny little things, And yeah, I mean, look at the Bible. Adam and Eve were not Adam, Abraham and Sarah. Wasn't Sarah in her 70s when she had a baby?
Yes, according
Now,
to the
come
story.
Come on. I mean, 70. I mean, so either they were really taking care of themselves back there, or they knew something different than we do, or they had a little bit more genetic something that we don't possess anymore.
So I want to go back to the animals being reincarnated. Is it that they can, I mean, not all, right? But some may have reincarnated from human form into animal form. Is that also possible so that they can be with their person, be with their human?
Yes.
Okay.
That happens a lot as well. So the cat I was thinking of was and I did this with a friend of mine, and we seriously got like the same dates. I think it was the 1800s, and we got like within less than a decade of what year it was. And she was what we now know are the Shakers, and they're now extinct. There were religious Shakers were extinct. They're in Kentucky, and a place called Shakertown. And this woman had reincarnated, and the Shakers obviously elevated women. They weren't one of these religions that pushed women down. They elevated women. They, not so much sexist. And she, in that religion, I think they weren't as gracious to animals like saving bees, Lexi's. Bees are there. The animals are there to work for you. So they didn't treat them respectfully and kindly. If they didn't eat for a day, whatever, it's, an animal. And if they, hit them or whatever, it's an animal. So, and when she, obviously, your spirit ascends, she realized, so she wanted to come back and experience what it was like to live in some kind of religious thing similar to that where they weren't kind to animals. She felt it was kind of a balancing of the karma to get what she gave. So
it's fascinating, actually. I don't know. I've not gotten this deep on that, but that's super interesting. Huh.
Yeah,
I want to contemplate
I
that a
know.
little bit further. So let me
How
ask
can
how for the person who's not as advanced as you are and they want to just reconnect with their pet. Wait, I'm going to back it up. When people come to you with their pet, what are they mostly seeking?
I think everybody, I don't care if it's people, I don't care if it's animals. We're very interesting, we human beings, and we're always so hard on ourselves. We're hard on ourselves. This morning, when you and Lexi got up, you guys are drop dead gorgeous. Did you look in the mirror and go, my God, I'm good looking? Because you are. I am so good looking. I am smart. I am talented. No, neither of you did. Because usually we don't. But you are. You're so wonderful. And all we see is the negative. We focus on the tiny little things we didn't do instead of the wonderful things we did. We focus. So people want to, with a reading, get some kind of peace. They want to know if it's a human, they always want to know, are they okay? If it's an animal, they feel they didn't do right in some way. I don't know if it's so much forgiveness. I didn't do enough. And animals just they don't feel that way, and neither do the people. They're always so proud and so happy that you made an effort to communicate with them. And the messages are always of love. Not 100% with the animals. If they're upset, they will tell me, and I always do. I'm always honest, and I will tell what it is. Now, obviously, if a animal would say to me, that person's, just controlling and it was horrible living there, I would obviously find a nicer way to phrase that. Because the person did make an effort to do a communication. I did get one animal who was euthanized when they said they weren't going to be. That was a little upset and very confused because it was, and was somebody there to carry them over? No, because you said you weren't going to do it and then you did. So yeah, but that animal loved that human and literally has already, reincarnated. Not a complete reincarnation, but like a braiding or a sharing. Yes, has already 3 months later came back. So it's not like they stay angry like we do. It's just not one of those. It's so human. It's so human, earthly human, to be upset and angry. If somebody died in a terrible thing, that person, that spirit has found peace. And the only thing they want to do is comfort us here. We're the ones who can't get over it. We can't get over it. They have. And they look at it like that was a lesson for that person. And sometimes it's something they agreed to. Let's say cancer. They may have agreed to come here before and get cancer so they could experience that. Or with animals, I know an animal or numerous animals who take diseases, even cancer, away from their humans. So the humans can stay longer and they experience that. I see wings on animals. Oof. I have seen wings colored with wings. Like when you're doing karate. Are your kids in karate?
My son.
A little taekwondo here and there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what color belt do they start with? White?
Mm-hmm.
White. Yeah. And it progresses up in colors. This is what I see. I see ones with a white wings. And that means, I'm told that means they have taken on an illness that would have affected, I don't know if it's always death, would have affected a human significantly. So they get the white wings. And in the colors of the whatever, and I've also seen the brown, all the way up to brown. Is that fascinating? Is this, yeah.
Does the color sort of indicate either what they've taken on or what their purpose was? What their mission was?
How many times they've done it.
Oh, wow.
I'm getting how many times? Yeah. Like white is one and
Wow.
brown is yeah, like it elevates with colors. I've seen yellow, brown, and white. Yeah.
They know though. They kind of tell you to keep an eye on things. I think like I have this thyroid nodule and it's fine and I've had it checked out, but my cat, she's always when we're cuddling, she always puts her paw on it. And it's like, "Oh, that's right. Thank you, Mittens. I need to go do my annual check on that." And it's like I never it's just fascinating how out of my whole entire body she has to put her paw right on that.
Yeah, they know. Isn't it just the most amazing thing? It's amazing. Yeah. It's the dogs who can smell cancer. So
Yes.
you've heard those stories, right? And then the
Hmm.
dog is annoying and you're pushing the dog off, and the dog keeps coming back. So the lady goes to the doctor. No, no, it's fine. Did a biopsy, it's fine. Months later, she comes back and the dog won't stop. I'm ready to get rid of the dog, but I love my dog. Do it again. So he biopsies it again, and it's cancer. They know
Yeah.
they can smell better. They know they just want to take care of you. If you love your animal unconditionally, they unconditionally love you, and unconditionally they take on numerous ailments for you. Yeah, it's happened with me, happened with, yes.
They
But
don't
you
need
have
to
to
do
love
that.
them.
But they
No,
sh- they
Right.
they shouldn't have to do that. It's so sad.
no. Isn't it? I know you get very upset, but it's like, why do they love us so much? Who would we do that for? I mean, really, you do it for your
Our
child,
kids. Hmm.
right?
Right.
You do it for
Right.
your kids. So we are like their children. The collective animal kingdom takes care of us. And the fact that sometimes people don't appreciate this always gets me very upset. Very, very upset.
That's really fascinating. So, for instance, we've talked about this before. My dog died recently of a brain tumor, which we were completely unaware of. There are other issues going on, which we were trying to take care of, but then it ended up being a brain tumor that, sort of ended her life. So I just, it's so interesting to me trying to look at it objectively anyway, without getting upset, was that how did she, like, was it, then I'm, backtracking saying, well, was it because there was so much going on in our minds at the time? Was it for the entire family that she did that? Was it me as an individual, my son as an individual, my former husband as an individual, that kind of thing? It's just interesting. Or is it the collective as well?
Well, you can find that out. You will have the capacity. Absolutely. And what Claire doesn't teach that Nancy Windhart teaches is you have to do. She makes you, when you take her classes, especially at the end, do a stillness, like for every single day. Be still. Just completely. And Julian Jenkins will go, focus. It would, when you breathe in, focusing on clearing my mind, focusing on clearing my mind. What I like to do is sit out in nature, which you guys are in California, so that's easy all year round, and just look and be appreciative. Isn't that a beautiful flower? Isn't that grass beautiful? Doesn't it feel great to take my shoes off and put my feet on the earth? And just ground yourself to the earth, and just spend, and when you're really feeling bad, just 10 things you're appreciative of. And if you can't think of it, I'm appreciative I still have 10 fingers and 10 toes. I'm appreciative that I have my animals. I'm appreciative that my kids are healthy. 10, just recite 10 things that you're grateful and appreciative for, and it'll up your mood a little bit.
I
So
think it's helpful. It's helpful for people well, for me, I was just thinking in the breathing exercises that I do weekly with a group, it's torture for me. I have a very hard time closing my eyes and sitting still and breathing in a shape. I know it's really important, but I have no problem going outside and taking my shoes off and sitting against a tree and just enjoying that for 10 minutes. If that counts as meditation or stillness, I think a lot more people would be willing to try.
I feel the same way. Torture, just sitting there and breathing with nothing, whatever, is absolute torture to me. Absolute. But when I go out and I can say, okay, beautiful sky, beautiful grass. Oh, look, there's a deer. Oh, look, there's a bunny. That's yes, because you're just communing and you're connecting and you're being still. Yes. Just then you can look and you can breathe. And yes, I agree with you so much. Do you feel the same way, Diana?
Yeah. I mean, I'm sort of always in an active meditation is how I feel. So let's say I'm out walking my horse. Well, I might be frustrated with him at moments, I have to say, but, but in general, when I'm out there, I'm certainly trying to do it in that sense that it is hard for me to just sit and breathe. It sort of seems like a waste of time. If I totally need it, I will definitely get out there and put my feet in the dirt. But I generally try to be in more of an active meditation most of the time.
Do you know who was always in an active meditation?
Who?
Einstein.
Huh. I believe that.
He was. He'd communicate with another realm, and that's where he gets all his ideas. Yeah, absolutely. So you're right up there with Einstein.
I have a whole theory about that. Not about me, but about Einstein. We'll talk about that another time.
Oh yes,
and what actually happened to him. So, I can't believe we're almost through this hour. Lexi, is your cat around?
Marcia, would you mind? My little Daisykins. Let's see if I can get her.
Okay, is that okay, Marcia?
Absolutely.
Okay, I think. How are you feeling today, by the way?
Me?
Yeah, I'm just curious as we're waiting to get the kitten. Do you ever, during all your readings, do you need to clear out when you're finished with all of it? Is there meditation that you do? Is there some cleansing?
When I first started, I think it was there. But after doing a lot of the stillness things and you just drop into it now, I think at the beginning, yes. But now, no.
You're good. Okay. Got it.
I can't see clearly. That looks kind of like Molly. Like, what is going on?
She's being very good. She doesn't like it when I pick her up, but she's been waiting for her time to shine during this interview.
She's so cute. Yeah. She wants you to know how much she loves you.
Oh,
she just, it's cats are very, very, very independent. They're very interesting. Not like the dog. Dogs, you can do anything to. Cats are much more discriminating. And she says she's like a dog with you.
Yes, she is. My sister was just saying that. My sister literally just said the other day, wow, Daisy's a lot more like a dog in her behavior than a cat.
I feel like, and I haven't gone in real deep, but I feel like she's been with you previously in another life as an animal. Do you get the feeling that it's very comfortable?
So when I got her from the animal shelter, she was the littlest, most sickest little kitten who was still so playful and honestly smiled for me when I took a picture. And I was like,
who ever heard of a cat smiling? Oh, yeah.
I know. I'm like, she's adorable. I have to take this kitten like I'm taking her. And I think maybe what resonated right away was just sort of being sick and younger and an underdog and, having some things, just sort of that idea of her being the runt of the litter and having to go on antibiotics a bunch of times. And she's a sweetheart. She doesn't let me pick her up. I don't know. I think I'm happy to hear that she loves me because sometimes I think, oh, Daisy, I feel bad. I'm sure you'd rather be an outdoor cat,
No, she tells me she knew exactly what she was doing when she was smiling. She knew that. And it's not the first time that I've heard I had to get really, really sick in order for you to take me. Yeah. For you to
Oh.
notice me,
Oh.
I had to really, really, really get sick. My friend's cat, I said, okay, here, this is strange. Saying that she had to make herself so sick, like death sick, or else you weren't going to take her. And she says, that's right. We were planning to take another cat. So yeah, they.
Lexi.
Oh my God.
It's not the
Oh.
first time. Yeah. And then when you
Oh, it was.
finally went over there, she's like, yeah, finally, I'm here. You can't really say it's your cat. Hello, I'm here. You have to get attention other ways. So yeah, it's not the first time. So
Wow.
yeah,
You mean that's
I
not the
know.
first time that the animals do that in order to get our attention, or,
Yeah.
sort of allow destiny to bring us together, or enable destiny to bring
They
us
have
together.
such patience for us as humans. I mean, think of a dog. Have you ever had a dog or seen a dog that just sits there and keeps staring at the human like, hello, I got to go out. Patient human, hello, human, hello. It takes us, they just understand we need more time or something to get to that. Just, yeah, we don't get it. And they're so patient with us, hello, human. I got to go out. I'm just staring at you. I got to eat. I'm just staring at you. They're just so patient. Yeah. There's, maybe that's another reason. I haven't explored that. Maybe that's another reason that you want to come back, maybe as an animal, besides you get in and out quickly, but you want to experience sometimes, something different like that. I mean, we don't do that. How many people are really, really patient like that? Certainly it's not the American culture.
Yeah, it's not. So I know we're going to go deep here, and we talk a lot about pets during the meetup group, and people are most lovely bring their animals to the meetup group. They bring photographs of their animals to the meetup group so that you can be the, sort of be the midwife there, and communicate between the two. I'm just curious about the animal population on the planet right now. This is a big question, but because we have so much going on, I mean, we're in a big transition on the planet. I think things are going to get much better, not in the near future, but I think they will. So are animals here at this time in general to help push humanity along into a better kind of existence?
I do believe that. When you were talking about this question, it reminded me in the 1970s, I believe it was, somewhere in the Middle East, they found the Dead Sea Scrolls. Do either of you remember that? So they found these scrolls that were buried in a cave somewhere, and they can't quite figure it out. But one guy had an hypothesis. They described two different ways. One is a desert and it's very bleak and this and that. And the other is like an oasis with flowers and blooming. And basically, probably it's like a Nostradamus thing where you've got two paths. Humanity can take one of two paths. And we can go down the one where, it's all barren and a desert, or we can make it to where we get the other path. So yes, I absolutely, positively believe that they're here to help us. And if not us as a single person, they're here to help the earth. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what, when I talk to them, that's what they say. I'm helping, I'm helping the planet. How are you doing that? I'm making the air clean. I'm, it's fascinating. I mean, it's just, whoever thought,
I mean, never thought
spider,
you'd be doing this work?
never thought I'd be doing it. I didn't really think, I thought it was for the blessed few. Anybody can do this. Absolutely. You, Diana, have just started in a few weeks. You can already do it. You're already starting. You've already started. I mean, it's like, wow. Yeah. My, one of my close friends for years. We were nursing professors together. And she said, I need to take an intuition class. I know you're going to know. She said, and it can't be expensive, like really inexpensive. So I told her to take the Claire Bloomfield class on Udemy. Mm-hmm. And after that, she can now communicate with animals. She doesn't practice. She's, has her doctorate in nursing and she's doing, that kind of thing. But, oh yeah, every once in a while I'll say, tell Kimba, is Kimba coming home tonight? Is Kimba Lion coming home? And she'll like, I'll text you as soon as I find out. And she will say, no, you will see me tomorrow. I am Kimba Lion. I am Lion. Sure enough, he came home the next morning. So every single person can do it. I wish that they would teach this to children in the schools, that to be open, that yes, you're not, you can do this. How is it going to hurt a kid if they start communicating with just teach them more sensitivity to animals? Yeah. Was not an option in college either, was it?
Right. I mean, I sort of think that
Animal
too.
Communication 101. I'd be signing up for that one. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. For instance, my nephew's a veterinarian. He teaches at a major university in Texas. And I was thinking about, well, golly, if they had this kind of curriculum, at veterinary school, I would have maybe considered that. Not, it's very difficult to get into veterinarian school, but so applause to all of those that are going through it. But that's what I was thinking of. Why, if this was, some sort of adjunct coursework, would that be advantageous?
Well, interestingly, there is now a school in Canada, Saskatchewan or something, and they do have a degree in this now.
Oh.
Yes.
Well.
So, yes.
Maybe I'll become Canadian. All right. Cool. Lexi, do you have any pets, by the way, that have passed?
Oh yeah. I have, yes. Oh my gosh. I mean, a lot of dogs from childhood. And then, when another little aquatic turtle, when he was young, he didn't make it, but one of just, all the dogs, but my dog growing up, he was my first dog and my buddy. And I always, just missed him a lot. And he's a dog that shows up in dreams and he's healthy and spry and, back to his old self. So if I had to choose one, I would choose my Australian Shepherd.
What was your dog's name?
Chi, Chee.
Chi is doing a happy dance that you mentioned him.
Oh, he's the best.
Like standing up as a human like this. So he was an active dog, but that's not unusual for the breed. He showing me like you throwing something like a Frisbee or something soft, something, and he's getting it. You're walking, he's walking behind, you'd sit down and he'd kind of go around you and sit. He's so thrilled. He would wait for you to like come out. Sit and wait. Come out. Yep. Loves you.
He's the
best. You have a lot
best.
of animal around you. Yeah. They're very much they very much help you with whatever you want to do. They're like, lots and lots of animals around you.
Thank you.
Very cool. All right, Marcia. When people are
butterflies
on the show,
too.
Whoop,
yes, but I was just thinking butterflies, and then you, of course, you said butterfly. Yeah.
You mean the butterflies liked being around Lexi?
I see butterflies around her. Yeah.
Now, why is that?
I don't know.
Because I talk to them.
I don't know. Butterflies.
Are they part of the Fae realm?
Part of the what?
The
I would think
realm.
so. like fae, fairies, and the sort of nature
Oh,
guardians of the air. I would think
yes.
so.
The elementals. They're called the
Yeah.
elementals.
Right.
Yes. And I've literally spoken to some before. Yes, there are a lot around me. People pick up on them on me around all the time. Yep.
And what do they say?
I don't know. I mean, they're just they're the elementals are here to help the earth again.
Right.
So I have a lot of them living on the farm here. They like it here.
I bet they
I'm the
like it
guardian.
there.
I'm the guardian.
Hmm. So when people are in a session with you, what do you really hope they get out of it?
I want them to feel good. Especially the animals that have passed. My best helper Holly is here. And Holly, if you're around, are you here, Holly?
I think she is. She can't. Oh wait, maybe I can She can.
Because Holly, I just did a communication with Holly for her dog that had crossed over and a cat that had crossed over.
Your kitty better.
Holly, tell how you felt after we did the communication with Milo and Patches.
Yeah. So I didn't even realize that I had been carrying around emotional baggage, because sometimes life is just that way. You just pull yourself up by your bootstraps and just carry on, keep on keeping on. And so I don't know. I just got to the point after class, after we disconnected, Diana, that I was just like, I wonder if she'd be willing to do, with my dog, because there was a lot of unresolved issues that I didn't really have closure about. I mean, it was nothing, you know, too major, but I didn't have peace. And it was almost like I had been holding my breath without realizing it. And suddenly it was just, I was able to put down that baggage that I had been carrying around, and that, like Marcia was just talking about, like unnecessary guilt. Because, we have to be kind to ourselves. Like sometimes life happens and we just have to do the best that we can do. And, it's thankfully they don't hold it against us. Sometimes.
And the animals don't. The amazing thing is they really don't. They really understand your heart, and they can absolutely forgive you, and they understand you did the best that you could at that time, because they're so pure. They're just pure love, and they understand that you were doing the best you could just to hang on, and they just want you to feel good and go on and think of them, just honor them. That's all they want. So yeah, there's that peace word again.
And it actually really, really helped me, because the night I ended up staying almost up until like 2:00 in the morning, my time, with Marcia for the reading. And the following day was a very, very tough day for my family. We had lots of medical emergencies and everything going on. And I know for a fact, just my normal personality, I think I would have been a lot more stressed, been a lot more tense, whatever. So it was almost like, even though I'm in the middle of an emergency, I still felt better subconsciously and everything than I would have had I just not talked to Marcia. Just, because sometimes our pets are with us our whole lives, and sometimes they go and we're not ready or is unexpected. It's like, I mean, even with humans, like sometimes when family members leave us, our friends leave us, like there's so much left unsaid, like just one more conversation, one more, and so you are left with this, like, you don't have closure. And so that's why I just thought it was really, really, great for me, because I was able to get that closure, and I didn't even realize I needed it. I know that sounds weird, but it's like sometimes it happens. But it was just such a great experience.
So does that answer your question, Diana? Lexi?
Yeah, I think it does. I think it's interesting that Holly didn't, as close as I'm assuming you were with your dogs. I mean, that's my sense about it, was that you didn't realize that you didn't have closure, or you didn't have like a sense of peace about it. I don't know if there is such a thing as closure, but
Right.
you didn't have a sense of peace about it. And I'm sure you were extremely kind to your dogs. So, but you're right. It is like, no matter what, it is like, gee, if I just would have had one more moment with that
Exactly.
dog, that cat, that frog, whatever it might be. So I would have done this. And I know for myself, that's definitely true. So I'm sure it is for lots of people, even when you know that it's inevitable.
Maybe closure is not the right word. Maybe it's acceptance, like, of everything. Like, it's, I mean, we're always so hard on ourselves. Like, oh, we wish I could have done better. And then, you always replay everything. Like, wish I could have done X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
And, you end up like mentally beating yourself up over like, I could have done this and I could have done this. And they're like over it. They're like, you're still focused on that. Like, I'm happy now. Let me be happy, So it was just,
Yep.
really,
circling around.
Yeah.
We as humans, we're so hard on ourselves. Yeah. And they just want to give us love and like, hey, live in the present moment with people. That's the biggest message from the spirit world to us. Live in the present moment right now, right now. Don't think of what you're going to do, in a few hours or tomorrow. Don't think of what happened yesterday. Be present right now. Appreciate right now. That's the message right now. We just don't do it enough. And and Holly does AI pictures. It's fascinating. She has trained me on making tarot cards, and she's trained me with a program called Midjourney, which does AI pictures. It's like fascinating. So yeah.
Cool. Well, we want to learn more about these tarot cards.
Yeah, I'm like,
is that what you're doing, Marcia?
That's amazing.
I'm but it's not like regular tarot cards where they're done. It's like they look realistic. It's I'll have to show you some in class, Diana.
For sure. We'll circle back and talk about that again, because Lexi and I, we like the divinity of it, and we like some divine guidance, and that's a tool for it. And that's my point of view, is that it's a tool for that.
There's someone strong around you, Diana, who has a gold halo on the top of their head. It's like a fairy or something. Has a glittery white robe. Yeah, the glittery whites are usually the either the angels or the fairies. Yeah, you got a big, strong one
it's an
around you.
angel.
Yeah,
it's a
big, strong one.
Yeah, it's an angel.
Do you know who it is?
Is it Metatron?
I'd have to go a little bit further into that, but yeah, there's a big, strong one with a big gold halo around you. You don't seem to be surprised.
It takes a big, strong angel to be around me. I need it. You kidding? Still walking this earth, so I must have an angel around.
I'm telling you. Yes.
Yeah. I'm curious who. I think maybe it's a she. I don't know, but maybe it's.
I don't know. I'd have to ask. I'd have to ask my pendulum for a while. Let's see. I'm getting a yes from Metatron.
Oh, it is Metatron. Oh yeah.
Let me see. I originally thought it was a woman, but my pendulum says it's Metatron. You were correct on that one. Yeah.
Okay.
Very interesting. How do you know that?
I've been told over the years that Metatron is one of my spirit guides. And so he's sort of been pushing me, he, she, it, whatever, has been pushing me along on this spiritual journey for a while. And obviously, if he's here at this moment, I would assume he's encouraging me to follow this pursuit in animal communication and I'm just listening to him. I'm kind of channeling him for the greater wealth of the earth and for my own sense of peace and self-guidance. And
There you go.
he's telling me money too, actually, for financial. It's not a money thing. It's more like
Right.
it is a money thing. That's just how we are on this planet at the moment.
And I see you doing it with horses too.
Right. So it's more about the abundance of the earth. And he's telling me something about currencies right now, cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. But it's all about that. It's all about this interplay of the greater economy of abundance. Okay. So I don't know where that all came from, but it's about the greater economy of abundance and how we sort of view things very separately, the animals and the earth and the economy and money and all the things that we use and receive and give back. We think it's all very separate, but in fact, it's all just one big geometric ball. And
Yes.
Somehow that's one of my things. I'm supposed to share this in my work with animals so that it all becomes more cohesive flow.
Yes. Yeah, everybody
level.
seems to not understand that we're all connected.
Yeah.
No, we are connected. We are not only connected with our spirit guides and those in the realm, whether it be animal or human, but we're connected to the blades of grass on that we walk on. And that's when people have the near-death experience. That's when they come back and say, I didn't want to come back because I felt such connection and such intense love that, you feel such love and connection that we're missing here, that we don't feel that we don't have that connection. And so if I can help somebody with peace, or feeling good, or you don't even realize there's so many, especially with animals or people, if I just had that one more day, if I just said this more, well, they hear you now.
And perhaps as we raise our frequencies and become our more highest selves. And that's kind of what Lexi and I, that's kind of one of our pursuits in this podcast, is that people feel more comfortable and more aligned with their highest selves and walk, be. But so I have a lot of friends who have rescue organizations or are aligned with rescue organizations for various animals, including rhinos. So I'm hearing
I see you doing communication with them and helping those animals with this communication.
So that's part of your role with me and others is to share this sort of this communication. It's more than communication though. It's this existence that we all have with each other. And we're sure lucky to have it on Earth because you might not have it other places, so that we get to enjoy this kind of communication with animals more.
Yes, absolutely. I think another message is we're exactly where we need to be right now. We're exactly where we're supposed to be. And people don't accept that either.
Beautiful. Okay, so we're running out of time. I know. So I want people, I can't help it. I'm going to be super selfish here. I really want people to know how to get in touch with you. And could you share with everyone about your calls and how to get in touch with you, that sort of thing?
I just, Marcia the Pet Medium, Marcia. So it should be, I should have one, Marcia at marciathepetmedium.com, but who knows whether, it's going to work, whether it will. But there's also Marcia the Pet Medium at gmail.com. So it's, Marcia thepetmedium.com. And help, if I'd always help anybody for anything, no matter what. Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Soul Fam podcast. Be sure to tune into every episode where we dive into a different rabbit hole of the known and unknown to empower you in conscious living and exploration of the greater universe. We hope you leave each episode with a little stardust in your hair and inspiration in your heart. With love from your Soul Fam.